to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. We're going to do things a little bit different today. I was going to make a video talking about the potential to expand to a 12-team college football playoff. Some of you guys were talking about it in the private group on Facebook. So I was going to make a video on it. I found a pretty good article on 24/7 Sports, but there are a ton of points on that article. And I said, there's no way I can get this done in 10 to 15 minutes. And the way YouTube works, if your video goes 20, 25, 30 minutes, they're just going to destroy you. They're not going to promote it. So here we are. And, I'm fortunate enough. I work from home. And that's why, some of you guys have asked, why do you guys use the cartoon emojis when you make videos? Well, it's because half the time I'm making videos on my lunch break or just a regular break or right before I start working. It's just easier to do it that way. So that's what we're going to do here for this special lunchtime live stream. It's probably a bad idea. I've got contractors in my house. We're remodeling the bathroom. They're making noise. They're running saws. And speaking of, I got to figure out a way to pay for that. So drop super chats because I didn't think this through. I really don't know what happens if they do all this work and I don't pay them. So I don't know. Help us out. But as always, guys, smash that thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell for notifications, all that jazz. Let's see who is here and who is hanging out. Alan V. Troll Patrol. Alan V. was the first one here. He says, Am I first? Kenny Jones is here. He says, go Big Orange. What's going on, Kenny? IC86 is hanging out in the chat. Welcome on in. Come on in, guys. We're going to go through the expansion of the college football playoff to 12 teams. Killer Dude is here hanging out in the chat. What's up, Killer Dude? David is here and his chili is hot. What's up, David? Lucas Sharp is hanging out. Keep on coming in, guys. Like I said, we're going to share up an article. We're going to talk about it. This was just easier than kind of going through this by myself. I have no idea how many people will show up for an impromptu live stream, but Noogaloots is in the chat. What's up, Noogaloots? Bringing up a good point already. I like this because it's going to open up recruiting back up for the big boys. We'll see what happens. Let me go ahead and share up the article. Going to kind of go through it, and I'll try to hit your guys' comments. It's kind of hard. I go back and forth. I'm on a different Chrome tab, but we'll share it up and get going, and we'll go back and forth. Like I said, we're just going to wing it. We're going to play this thing by ear today, but this is a really good article from 247sports.com from Brandon Marcello. 5 takeaways for a 12-team college football playoff. So let's take a look at it. It says expansion is coming to the college football playoff, and with it are a load of questions and possibilities that have my mind racing. It says the college football playoffs working group proposed a 12-team field Thursday that will include the 6 highest ranked conference champions and 6 at-large bids starting as early as the 2023 season. I guess let's start there. What do you guys think here's where I struggle, and I'm kind of back and forth, so I'm curious to get your opinion, and I want to hear from you guys on this, because no matter what, it doesn't matter if you have a 4-team field or an 8-team field, 12-team, 16, no matter what you do with this college football playoff format, what happens is if you're taking 4, the 5th team's pissed off. If you're taking 8, the 9th team's pissed off. If you're taking 12, 13's pissed off, so on and so forth. So somebody's always going to be pissed off no matter how you go about it. And I think the point of the college football playoff is to get the best teams playing for a national championship. Let's continue to go through the article here. It says, as it stands now, the 4 highest ranked conference champions will receive a first-round bye. I do like that. I do like going, you get something out of that versus if they go 16, there's really no buys. I like those top 2 teams getting a bye in the first round. It says the teams ranked 5th through 12th will play on-campus playoff games at the higher-ranked seed stadium about 2 weeks following conference championships. I also like that. I like having a home field advantage. Says the 11-game playoff has been a long dream for smaller schools and some within the Power Five, but there are headaches to consider as discussions ramp up June 17th and 18th in Chicago and June 28th in Dallas. When you start talking about smaller schools, and I'm going to try to get you guys comments, again, going back and forth. When you start talking about smaller schools and an opportunity to represent themselves in the college football playoff, again, what is the point? What is the point of a college football playoff? Well, the point is not to represent smaller schools, not to showcase smaller schools. The point is to crown the best football team in all of college football. And I'm not really sure how allowing a smaller team to represent themselves, that's not the point to me. That's not the point. It should be about the best. And if you're not the best, then tough. So here, what I like about the article, they go through 5 things that the writer has on his mind after examining the proposal and speaking to coaches across the country. So we're going to kind of go through these one at a time. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. Help me out, guys. Hit that thumbs up, share it out. I didn't expect much. It's early in the morning. There's no, didn't even let you guys know, just impromptu, but we got 31 people hanging out. So smash that thumbs up, share the link out, all that good stuff. The first point he brings up here are tweaks coming to the selection committee. Says if the college football playoff is expanding, and so that intensifies scrutiny of the top 12 teams in their rankings every week. Should the college football, I don't even know, CFB reevaluate its criteria for ranking teams? They should at least consider expanding or restructuring the committee, yada, yada, yada. My thing for that, I don't think anybody should be ranked for the first 4 or 5 weeks. I don't know that it's going to matter if you expand to this point, though, once you expand this much. Because a team like Alabama, a team like Georgia, if they take care of business, they're going to be there at the end. But what drives me nuts is you have these teams a lot of times out of the Big Ten that come out ranked in the top 5, top 10. And then as the season goes on, they have 1 or 2 losses. Seems like they don't fall far enough out of the rankings. So then they end up ranked ahead of teams, and then you're trying to shuffle. I think you should wait until a little later in the season. The article goes on down here to say, as for the criteria, it's a given. One responsibility will be thrown out the door, avoiding rematches of repeat appearances from the regular season and conference championships. Those are inevitable. That's another point. I mean, that's another point. But it's already happening. It was happening with 4 teams. It's going to happen with 8 teams, but that's because the best of the best. Look at the SEC. I mean, you could have Alabama and Georgia play each other for an SEC championship. If Alabama beats Georgia and that's Georgia's only loss throughout the season, should they be punished? Should they not be allowed? I mean, I think the goal, again, for me, is to have the 2 best teams in the country playing each other for a national championship. No matter how you get there, that should be the end game. The next point, does this actually benefit the SEC? Says one would assume an expanded playoff, particularly a field with 6 at-large spots, will benefit the most dominant conference in the 2010s. Well, who else should it benefit? The most dominant conference should probably have more representatives in the college football playoff. But he says not necessarily. The old Coach Herb Street. Not so fast, my friend. Lee Corso, sorry. Says despite the playoff tripling in size, the SEC would have historically only doubled its participants in the field. According to the new selection criteria, the conference would have placed 4 teams in the 12-team field in 2018, only 1 in 2016 and 2019. Would have included 3. I don't know that this benefits the SEC or not. The SEC is the most dominant conference in the country, obviously. There's no doubt about it. But you also have separation. I mean, it's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's everybody else. You could argue LSU, obviously winning a national championship is up there, but they're up and down. Florida, up and down. It's Alabama, it's Georgia, and it's everybody else. David Bruner in the chat talking about the big super regional this weekend. Tennessee taking on LSU. The Indy Kid dropped a preview for that this morning. Make sure you go check that out. Really good. He gets real in-depth with that, so I encourage you to check it out. And just a reminder that we're going to go live immediately following every game. Hopefully it only takes 2, but if it takes 3, we're going live after every game, so tune in for that. I see 86 correcting me. The committee doesn't start ranking until late October, early November. Correct. I'm talking rankings in general. But, I guess at the end of the day, you're right. The committee's rankings are all that really matters. The next point that they bring up in the article, finally, on-campus playoff games. The details still have to be ironed out, but on-campus playoff games are likely coming to college football. The 4 highest-ranked teams will receive byes into the second round, while teams ranked 5 through 12 will play on-campus playoff games. The higher-ranked teams will host playoff games in the first round, with quarterfinals and semifinals played within the bowl system. Not clear yet which bowl games will be included. Yada, yada, yada. Still, those on-campus games talk about an incredible scene with the potential for crazy matchups. I show some examples that you could have seen in 2019 with those on-campus matchups. Look at this weekend. Again, look at this weekend and baseball. What an atmosphere. What an atmosphere down there for the regionals. And then this weekend is going to be insane. You got the Big Orange Block Party, extra seating, Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Baseball is taking over Knoxville right now. The buzz coming out of there, the excitement level. Now imagine somehow, some way, Josh Heupel gets this football program back in the right direction. Imagine a playoff atmosphere inside of Neyland Stadium. Anywhere across the country, but just imagine. Close your eyes. Think about it. Neyland Stadium. We show up and we show out. Anytime Tennessee, all they have to do is get ranked in the top 25, and we show up and we show out. We're always there. Always. The problem with this program has not been the fan base. We are constantly showing up and showing out. So again, imagine a playoff atmosphere on campus. I like it. I like it. And people that start talking about bowl games and loss of this and loss of that, add more bowl games if you have to. I don't care. You're already allowing teams into bowl games with 6 wins. 500. 500 is acceptable. It's all a cash grab. We know that. So who cares? Who cares? Alan V's telling me to stop it. Stop it, Boogie. A man can dream, Alan. A man can dream. I'm just glad you're here, buddy. Next point on the article, get ready for some angry Power 5 fan bases. Says most energy is focused on how the new system will reward the Big Ten and SEC with more playoff spots, and they will, but also consider that new eligibility will allow 6 highest ranked conference champions. I saw I think it was 24/7 tweeted out a thing showing that Coastal Carolina, teams like that. I don't have a problem with that, a conference champion getting an automatic bid. They're likely going to get blown out. And to speak out of both sides of my mouth here, it is cool to see those smaller teams represented. But when you talk at large bids, again, what is the point of this thing? The point is to crown a national champion. I don't know. Like I said, I'm back and forth on this thing. I'm a hypocrite. I talk out of both sides of my mouth. I see 86 there in the chat says, it is solely for determining the national champion. You're right. You're right. And that's what I said earlier. But I think of a team like Coastal Carolina, it's pretty cool to see them get represented, but that's not the point. I see 86 is exactly right. The point is to determine who is the best football program in the country. Says this matters because several Power 5 teams in the top 12 would be bumped from the playoff because the 6th highest ranked conference champion would have to be selected. Here we go again. Even if they are ranked below the number 12 team, people are going to be pissed no matter what. 6 teams, 8, 12, 24. Let's just go March Madness. Let's add 60-some teams. Whoever's on the bubble is going to be pissed. It just is what it is. It says 4 Power 5 teams ranked in the top 12 over the last 7 years would have not been included in the college football playoff. Would have eliminated number 12 Georgia Tech in 2014, number 12 LSU in 2015, number 12 Oklahoma in 16, number 12 Auburn, which defeated number 5 Alabama in 2019 to make room. So it says there are going to be a lot of upset Power 5 programs. But can you really be upset? Can you really be upset when you settle it on the field? Take care of business and nothing else matters. That's what makes college football the greatest sport on earth. You know, the Indy kid and I were talking, just the other day, talking about baseball and how exciting it is and how fun it is. Even the NHL, I love watching hockey. But there's nothing like playoff hockey. There's nothing like playoff baseball. Or look at college basketball. What is one of the biggest events of the year? March Madness. Why? Because everything is on the line in March Madness. Regular season basketball, people don't get as excited. People don't tune in as much. The ratings aren't as high. Why? Because in college basketball, you can lose and it doesn't matter. Get hot at the right time, make it to the dance, get hot at the right time. That's all that matters. College baseball, a lot of new Tennessee baseball fans this year, and that's great. That's awesome. Success will cause growth, create growth. That's what we want. But what happens when you play a Tennessee Tech in a midweek game, or you play a Wright State in a midweek game? You play one of these smaller schools in a midweek game, and you lose. Doesn't matter. I've been covering Tennessee baseball all year long on this channel, myself and the Indy kid. I didn't watch every midweek game because it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you make it at the end of the season. Take care of business, win 2 out of 3, sweep a few teams, get to the postseason, get hot at the right time. College football, you can't afford to miss a game. You can't afford to not watch. Every game matters. Yeah, Killer Dude says in the chat, wouldn't be the case if basketball only played 12 regular season games a year. You're exactly right. You drop that number of games to 12, all of a sudden every game starts to matter. And that's where I'll contradict myself again. The more teams you start adding to the playoff, the less stress there is during the regular season. Does it really matter who wins the SEC championship? Because both teams, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Florida, whoever, if you're in the SEC championship game, then you're going to make it into the college football playoff. So there's excitement from both sides of the argument. There is excitement about expanding this to 12 teams, taking the top 12 teams. There's excitement there. It's going to create a great atmosphere for the postseason. But it's also going to take a little away from the atmosphere of the regular season. So again, I ask you guys, what do you think? Because I'm a hypocrite. I can talk out of both sides of my mouth. I'm just trying to create talking points. And honestly, I don't know which way I would rather have it. Killer Dude again. Suddenly teams won't care about winning conference championships. I don't think so. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying from a fan's perspective, you're not sitting on the edge of your seat as stressed out about it. The excitement is not there. If it's do or die, if everything is on the line in the SEC championship, you have to win that game. Suddenly you care a little more. But if you know you're going to be taken into this 12-team playoffs and it doesn't really matter, when your team loses, that's all right. We'll get them next time. All of a sudden, it doesn't matter as much. That's all I'm saying. David's for it. He wants an 8 to 16 team playoff. Another point, the bowl system will shrink. Do you love the 44 games, bowl games on the schedule in 2021? Not really. I don't really care. Don't really care. I don't watch 75% of them. Most people don't. Some of you do. Some people are diehard. Some people want to watch every single football game on TV, and that's fine. But I just don't care. He says, don't get used to it. Several are expected to disappear under the new playoff system. Yeah, we're gonna lose some of those small bowl games and replace them with big time matchups because we're gonna get more of those with a 12-team playoff. Lucas Sharp in the chat says, I think 12 is too much. 8's perfect. Says, if you're a fan of bowls, get ready for a gut punch. Between 4 to 10 bowl games could be eliminated by 2023 as the CFP implements its new system. Again, we're losing 4 to 10 bowl games. We're gaining how many playoff games? I don't think it matters. He's arguing for it, though. He says that means less crazy finishes like in the Popeyes Bowl. I don't even remember the Popeyes Bowl. Couldn't even tell you who played in it. No idea. Didn't watch it. He says, simply put, we get more high-tier matchups at the expense of what actually might be more entertaining games in the low and mid-tier bowls. That's a shame. That's a shame. I guess it depends on who you ask, because I don't really think it's a shame. Strained Arrow Outdoors said, I played in that bowl game. Noogaloots, 4 to 10 of those bowl games need to be gone. I agree 100%. Who watches the French Dip Bowl? I don't know who watches it. Probably a bunch of the sponsors and family members is probably about it. David just loves college football, wants to see it last longer. Les Wadley in the chat. What's up, Les? Good to see you on a live show, an impromptu live show. Says, I personally think it should be a 5-team playoff. Number 1 team earns a bye, makes the number 1 ranking that much more important. Just my 2 cents. Go Vols. I honestly don't know what I prefer, which is part of the, why this article I thought would be fun to get on and read with you guys instead of just making a short video by myself. Because I don't know where I stand. When they made the announcement they were going to a 4-team playoff, at the time I thought I wanted an 8-team playoff. But the more I look at it, the more they expand it, I just think it takes away from the regular season. For so long, you almost had to go undefeated. Maybe 1 loss. You end up with 1 loss. All of a sudden, there's some conversation. Who deserves to go in? An undefeated SEC team, a 1-loss SEC team, or an undefeated smaller team from a smaller conference. Wicked Gaming is here, says 12-team playoff. I'm all about it. All about it. I don't know. I don't know what my thoughts are. Steven in the chat. What's up, Steven? After a few years, I believe the excitement will wear off. There will be a few lucky changes, but overall, it will always be teams getting hammered for 4 quarters. See, that's what I think is going to happen when you start adding a team like Coastal Carolina. I used to hate Boise State back in the day when everybody wanted them in the national championship every year. They play nobody all season long. And then on top of that, there's something to say for that. There's some, and I admire Coastal Carolina going out and competing against some better teams. But I think, who was it? BYU that they played? You can play a tough team once. That is nothing compared to the grind of the SEC week in and week out. It takes its toll. There's a reason we talk about depth, because it takes depth to compete in the SEC. But when you're playing these these nobodies week in and week out, it's easy to rest guys. It's easy to let guys get healthy. But I still think when these teams like Coastal Carolina end up in the college football playoff, they're still going to get beat down and beat up. You think Coastal Carolina is going to compete with Alabama, with Ohio State? Yes, Matt, I know that they beat Oklahoma in one season. One season. I'm talking about a full body of work. Let's just think about that 12 to 15 year run Tennessee had. 12-team playoff. Tennessee could have won 3 to 5 national championships. I don't know. Could they? It's a lot harder when you get into that 12-team format. You're going to have to be good. But we've seen over the last several years, who is it? It's the same old song and dance. Alabama, the Georgias, the Clemsons, Ohio States. I saw a graphic showing how many national championship games that those 4 teams alone had been in. It's ridiculous. Nugaloots wants that chance for a Cinderella story. I get it. I just don't know that I care. Because again, going back to the beginning of this live stream, the goal is to crown the best team in college football. It's going to be hard, though. It's going to be hard for that Cinderella story to make it through. You talking about Boise State beating Oklahoma that year. It's a lot easier to put together a game plan. And I'm not saying that Boise State got lucky, but it's a lot easier to go out and compete in one game versus making your way through a 12-team playoff. The End Zone says, I'm missing the point of the playoff system. I apparently don't know what I'm talking about. I hope you'll do a live stream, End Zone, and I'll tune in so you can educate me. I'm missing the point of the playoff system. What is the point? What is the point? To showcase a smaller team, to make money? What's the point? Because to me, the point is to crown the best football team in the country, period. The end. That's it. Crown the best team in the country. I don't think it gets much more complicated than that. That's the point. Hope you guys dug this. Some of you are mad at me. Some of you are laughing. Some of you agree. That's the fun. That's the beauty of college football. That's the beauty of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. All opinions are welcome. David, you're right. It is always money with college football. Always, always, always. But as a fan, the point for me, what I'm forming my opinion on is I want the best team in the country crowned, or at least competing. Leave no doubt. Leave no doubt. Settle it on the field. Matt says to be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's what the playoff would show. Settle it on the field. Like I said, guys, hope you guys dug this. We got up to almost 60 people in the chat. Not bad for a random Friday morning, 11:30 lunchtime live. If you guys dug this, if you guys want more of these, a lot of times a big thing that I do on the videos is I find a good article with a lot of good talking points, and I try to just, throw something out there, throw a video out there, give some comments. If you guys prefer this, if you guys want me to, if I find a good article to do an occasional lunchtime live stream, it's something I can do. I can only go about 30 minutes, but it's something that we can do. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up. If you haven't done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. And then once the video processes, come back, leave a comment. Leave me a comment after the video goes up. Let me know if you want more of these, and we'll see what we can do once we get rolling. But that is going to wrap it up. Just again, a reminder, myself, the Indy Kid, will be going live after every game this weekend as Tennessee takes on LSU. But that's it for this one. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.